Hey, it's Eric Arnold here in the Sports Barn on Sunday, the 6th of November. There's a new video up on the Politics Barn on Rumble. Basically, just a summation of where we're at now and some expectations going forward of what we can expect if the Democrats retain Congress or if the Republicans somehow win the Congress come Tuesday and the days following. So check that out. Now, sports-wise, I guess we got to eulogize the Phillies. I thought they'd win the series. I honestly did. Now, they were underdogs, and pretty sizable underdogs at that. So, the fact that they did not win, I guess that could be forgiven. Overall, I think we here in the barn had a pretty successful baseball season. We got off to a slow start. Our go-to database was under new management. That really put us behind the eight ball early in the year. Took a while for us to break into the black. We finally did, but we didn't run up the big numbers like we did the year before. However, I'm pretty confident our model works as far as handicapping baseball. So I'm looking forward coming back around next April, and I think we're going to make some money next year. I really think we're going to make some serious money next year. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm kind of thinking now, I told you this was a 10-year project, and it certainly looks like it's going to be all of 10 years. But there's only so many hours in the day, and there's a lot of sports out there, and you just can't know everything. So I think probably where I'm leaning right now is baseball. I think is going to be our bread and butter, and then I think we might morph into the NFL after that. College football, there's just so many freaking teams. It's hard to keep up with all that. It's the volume of that is just, especially coming out of a baseball season, which is a marathon and a grind. It's almost like running a marathon and then turning around and running another marathon. It's insane. Only skinny, crazy ultra runners do that shit. So that's where I'm thinking the NFL might be the vehicle that we use. And that's the most popular sport anyway. That's what you people want to hear, right? You want to hear how your NFL team's are they going to cover this weekend or not? So, furthermore, I also think, I've always thought this, it's the easiest sport to handicap. God strike me dead, but I actually think he can win in the NFL. So, and then we may just take a break after that. In other words, college basketball's another voluminous, crazy sport that there are thousands of games seemingly every week. And that's might just be a bridge too far. So our season could run from April to, say, January, with February and March kind of being the off season for the Big E Sports Barn. That's kind of where I'm thinking we could be going here in the barn. But back to the Phillies. I have mixed feelings on this team. I hated this team to begin the season. And then when they got off to a bad start, I really hated this team. Did they prove me wrong? Somewhat. Somewhat. I'm going to say right now, I think the guy I've got to come off my hatred for is Harper. I think he's earned my begrudging level of respect in that he came up big in the playoffs. He really did. It wasn't his fault that they did not win the World Series. He did everything he could do. The only knock you could hit him on was the fact that he couldn't play in the field. And that hurt us. It definitely did hurt us, but he was hurt. So next year, Harper will be out there, and stumblebums like Castellanos and Schwarber will not be playing the field. Those are bad fielders, and anytime we put them out there, we're at a disadvantage. So, but then who else on that team? Zach Wheeler, he was very good in the playoffs, very good. I wish like hell Rob Thompson had just left him in. It's easy to say when Alvarado gets taken 450 feet over the batter's eye for the game-winning, World Series-winning home run. But damn, man. Wheeler's pitching well. The only things they were getting off of him were weak contact blue hits. I sure would have liked to seen them just ride with their best pitcher and give him a chance. Rather, I know Alvarado throws 100, but check the stats. He's really not that good. So, that was kind of frustrating there that, I guess you got to give it to Captain Canada, though. The guy did things that no one's ever done before. How can you criticize the guy? He didn't win it all. There's a criticism. He was only able to walk on water 7/8 of the way across the lake, and then he fell in. So it's you want to criticize him, but then you look at what he did. It's like that guy just walked on water 7/8 of the way across the lake. That's impossible. And he just did it. He just didn't quite make it to shore. So, I think we got a good manager. So we got that going for us. I think the bullpen probably exceeded expectations. Sir Anthony Dominguez, he was good. Yeah, that guy was a good reliever for us. Real Muto, he earned his money this year. There's no doubt about that. The guy caught every game practically. I don't think he missed any time because of injury. He was our best player. It was a little tough at the end there because you could see he's just tired. The dude's beat up. His bat is like just so slow. But he played fantastic. Some of the rest of them played better than they did to open the season. But still, this team, I don't know. Where this team ranks in Philadelphia baseball history, it's somewhat yet to be determined. Is it a team that just got lucky for a month? Or is this team any good? I think there's no question they got lucky when the Padres beat the Dodgers. I don't think there's any way in the world the Phillies beat the Dodgers in a 7-game series. I don't know the Padres beat the Dodgers in a 7-game series. So the Phillies got lucky when they missed them. Things that I would change, going forward. Aaron Nola come up small, but I don't know what to do there. He's one of our best pitchers. He's under contract for not that much money for another year or so. So we have that. I would get rid of Rhys Hoskins yesterday. This is a perfect time to move him. He had a good offensive year until the playoffs. Then he was bad. He's horrible defensively. I think you could get a good trade for him and bring in some pitching or defense. And you wouldn't miss a beat. You would improve the club by trading him. So that's something I would definitely explore if I was Dombrowski, the GM. Segura, I thought he was a free agent, but I read an article today that said everybody's going to be back. I would try to move him. I think we could do better. I think you're going to try to sign some big free agent. I think Carlos Correa would fit pretty well. He's a good defensive shortstop, hits the ball occasionally. We don't really have a shortstop right now. Stott is just, he can't hit. Will his bat ever get quicker? Will he ever learn to hit a major league fastball? I don't know. I don't really see Bryson Stott as a future superstar in the league. So I'd like to try to improve there. Bohm, he's out of position. I mean, he's an okay hitter. He's not a great hitter. He's not even a good hitter. He's probably a below average hitter, and he's a way below average fielder. So he's young. You gotta hope he's gonna improve. Brandon Marsh, long way to go there. Not a good center fielder. Better than who he replaced. But you gotta hope Nick Castellanos plays better. He was a complete zero this year. Schwarber, yeah, he's earning his money. We gotta keep him. He's under contract for the next 3 years. He'll be a monster next year without the shift. That guy, he'll be a top 5 player. He'll hit 270 and hits 45, 50 home runs as long as he stays healthy. And he should, considering he's probably half the time going to be a DH. And so Schwarber could, right there, the Phillies are going to be better next year, just in the fact that they won't be able to shift Schwarber. Harper probably the same way. A lot of these outs that Harper pulls on the ground, they're probably going to bleed through into the outfield. So Harper might hit 330 next year. The Phillies are probably going to be as good next year, especially with Andrew Painter coming up. If you never heard that name, he's just blowing through the minor leagues. He's a number 1 pick of the Phillies. He's 19. He's going to be 20 next year. He is blasted through the lower levels of the minor leagues with an ERA under 2. A guy that just goes out and gives you 6, 7 innings, strikes out 7, 8 guys, and they get nothing off him for those 6, 7 innings. He should be on the major league team. You know how they do it. They unless I can't remember what rules they passed, this service time crap. He should start the season in Philadelphia. He's immediately their 4 starter. He's probably better than Ranger Suarez. He may even be better right now than Aaron Nola. He could be your number 2 guy. That's how good this guy is. So right there, the Phillies, they kind of look like they should be better next year. They really should be. So if the Phillies continue to make the playoffs and win rounds in the playoffs, I think this team could be remembered favorably and say, okay, that was the beginning of a new golden era in Philadelphia. The last golden era, that was the Utley Phillies, the Utley Howard Rollins Phillies there from 07 to 11. That was a 5-year run, probably the greatest run ever. It's a tough one. Then you got to go back to the Schmidt Phillies, and they ran from 76 to 83. So perhaps that was the golden era, the greatest Phillies team ever. Now the Phillies got to be careful, though, because they got some aging veterans on this team. I could see it going the other way, too, where suddenly it's 1994. And what happened to the John Kruk Phillies? They fell apart. That great team that we loved so much that, frankly, that team ranks ahead of this team, and it's not close. Those 93 Phillies were the team we loved the most. And they didn't even win a World Series. So for this 22 team to be compared to the lovable teams of the past, like the 93 team, they got to win next year, and they probably got to win the year after that. They have to win year after year after year. You can't miss, no missing playoffs now. The bar has been set. Anything less than, say, the championship series is a failure now for this team. So that's the level that they've set the bar at. We'll see. We'll see. I think they probably will be in the playoffs next year, and it's not out of the possibilities that they could be in the championship series again. That their key players are young enough, I think, and they're going to add some people in free agency, and you have Andrew Painter coming up, that these things alone, and you're going to have some valuable hitters that can no longer be shifted, that are hurt by the shift, Kyle Schwarber, who should be he should be an offensive monster next year. If you consider a DH an MVP, that could be him. His numbers could be that crazy next year. All right, well, that's all I got there. So check out the political video on Rumble, and we'll talk again later. Eric Arnold signing off.